Welcome back to the House Pro webinar on hot financial topics for the year ahead. Today we're going to be covering off the construction industry scheme, and everything we go over here is kind of high level, so you should definitely consult with your own accountant or seek your own personal advice based on your situation so that you can get the best advice. Myself, Jonathan, from the product marketing team here in house, and we're joined by Raj from the Five Rivers Accounting resident expert, and he will be running us through the CIS. So the construction industry scheme, again, I'm going to pipe down and I'm going to turn it over to Raj, who is past master in all of this. So Raj, why don't you tell us a little bit about the scheme and what it is and why it's applicable to contractors?
Thanks, Jonathan. Hi, guys. Hope you're doing well. So CIS stands for Construction Industry Scheme, implemented by HMRC specifically for the construction industry, due to the fact that it operates with a very flexible labour force. So subcontractors, individuals work for one contractor, for one project in a year, and then another project in a year, and it's a way for HMRC to keep track of who's being paid what, and making sure that the appropriate tax is collected during the tax year. So does it apply to you? So if you're in the construction industry scheme, as a general, it would do. There are some notable exceptions, which are probably easier to dissect of who's not under the CIS versus who is. So yeah, if you are constructing or building houses or developments or properties or digging foundations or anything along those lines, then it would apply. Where it doesn't apply is for professional services such as surveyors, architects, interior designers, manufacturers of materials, basically people who provide a professional service, who consult on the project, but don't actually physically do any building or implementation or instruction on how the construction is done. And yeah, so if you aren't in those categories, then you would need to apply.
I suppose, how would that impact my business? How does it affect the business?
So if you are under the CIS scheme, if you're, for example, a subcontractor, you would be paid less. Your contractor would typically deduct 20% of your labour costs from you in a way of similar to PAYE, so payroll or through a pay slip. People would deduct the tax element of there. Once you're registered as a subcontractor, you would get 20% deducted. If you're not registered and your contractor can't verify you that you're part of the CIS scheme, they would deduct 30% before paying you. And then it would be up to you to register and then reclaim that back from HMRC.
Okay, so it sounds like it's an important one to get right.
Yes, definitely, especially for cash flow and anything like that. So it can apply to both companies and individuals. So you could have, your individual subby, as they are lovingly known, or, companies who are subcontracting for the main contractor. So the person, for example, who's been given the responsibility to build a house, they'll be the main contractor. They will then subcontract out some work to subcontractor, for example, to do the groundworks and drains. They might, again, subcontract some of their work out to another company or individual to do the drain works because they haven't got the knowledge in-house. So that person in the middle is both a contractor and a subcontractor. So that's something just to watch out for.
Makes sense. And I suppose as you're registering for the CIS scheme, there's two flows you can go down. So definitely it would be worth consulting with somebody who knows exactly what they're talking about, just so that you're registering for the correct scheme.
Yeah, and also another one to add on to that is, if you can also apply for growth status. So if you've been in the construction industry, you've billed about £30,000 as a self-employed or a director through a company, then you can apply for growth status. This is where, rather than have a 20% deducted, you can get paid gross, which will help your cash flow. And so how do you register? So you register by calling the Construction Industry Scheme helpline. You would need to give a few details like your UTR, your company number, how long you've been trading for, what you intend to do, and they'll run you through that application. It's best to do it over the phone rather than post and online. I find it a lot quicker. And then once that's gone through, it essentially sets up a mini payroll system. So you can, if you've already got PAYE as a payroll scheme, then you can actually call the payroll service as well, and they can also assist you with this. And then what you need to do, so once you're all set up, If you're a subcontractor, you just need to hand over your UTR number so that it can be verified by the contractor. So that ensures that at a minimum, you're only getting 20% deduction on the labour element. Materials are always paid 100% of your invoice. And if you're a contractor, then every month you need to submit to HMRC which subcontractors you paid, how much you've deducted from their invoice, and then pay that over to HMRC so that they can reconcile it all. And at the end of the year, if there's a reclaim to be made by the subcontractor, they'll have that all tallied up on their system. So that really helps that subcontractor there.
Great. I think from what it sounds like, it's one of those box ticking exercises that really, it's almost annoying to do, but it's a requirement. So if you get set up early and you get set up right, it's just one of those things that's off your plate. But, if you do get caught on the hop with it, if you're not set up appropriately, it can lead to kind of bigger troubles down the line.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where House Pro can really help with this in terms of managing your project, so you know what's coming in, what's coming out, and what needs to be submitted to HMRC at the same time. And your advisor will be able to help you with this as well and set you up better process.
Yes. So look, thanks again for that, Raj. It was very informative. And again, it's just, as I said earlier, it's just one of those things. It's something that needs to be taken care of sooner rather than later. So yeah, head to the Learn website to get some more articles or more information on it. Always, myself and Raj are happy to expand on everything we talked about here and go into more detail. And so we have one more webinar, which we sent out next week. So join us for the final webinar in the series.